There we go. Now we're working. Yeah, we are working. We're up and running. We're not even doing the countdown today. We are straight into it. How good? How good, John Malua? Maluiakoa? I'm gonna butcher that one, but I gave it a red hot crack. How you guys doing? Bright and early for you guys, isn't it? Coming in before I even start the stream. How good? Do the usual. Let's check you can hear me. Yes, sir. You are live. Perfect, John. I'll make consistency. Thanks, mate. I really appreciate it. Couple of things I want to touch on today, actually. Some exciting topics too. Malu, it's easier. Appreciate it. Where's that from? Where's that name from? I'm getting an Islander vibe, but I don't want to. I don't want to assume. Is it? Let's clear that up. How are we doing? How's everyone's trading week been? Apologies for not showing last week. I was battling COVID. So I wasn't exactly feeling up for being live and having a look at the trading. Hawaiian, okay. So I was kind of right in the Islander. I'm used to Islander over here being like Tonga and Samoa, and being in Australia, that's what we're surrounded by. So your week's gone great, John. Awesome, fantastic. Hi, Shema. Welcome. Anyone over on TradingView, give me a thumbs up, give me a hello. And let's actually dive in, because there's a lot I want to talk about today, and I actually want to have a look for some opportunities. So before we dive into what I actually want to talk about, straight away we're looking over at the charts here. Euro Japanese yen. I want a buy position. I want a buy position this morning at some point. Okay, I was looking for an entry point in here. I didn't get anything that really grabbed me. We've gone up, we've moved higher. I'm looking for a pullback. If we can sit in around this 0.5, which coincides with that moving average, I'm going to look for a scalp trade here on the Euro Japanese yen. So I just wanted to stress that straight away, that I will be keeping an eye on this throughout today's live stream, and I will also explain why I'm looking at buying the Euro Japanese yen this morning, okay? But that's there for anyone that needs to know. Put another shrimp on the barbie. I'll bring a few Fosters. Funny thing, Steve, Fosters isn't very popular in Australia. Now, Foster's was, yes, an Australian beer, but it never took off in Australia. Its marketing campaign was taken over to UK and marketed as the Australian beer, but no one in Australia drinks Foster's. In fact, it's quite difficult to get in Australia, and Australians don't like it. You learn something new every day. I thought I'd tell you that. It was just genius marketing. It was marketed as the Australian beer, but never really an Australian beer. No one in Australia really cares for Foster's. But if you go like to Australian pubs in the UK or in the US or anywhere like that, it's all like Foster's, Foster's, Foster's. Yeah, I knew that, by the way. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Just thought I would explain that as well. The surge on Euro was wild. I'll explain why that was. Both Euro and Swiss franc too. It's been moving like mad. You're long Great British Pound US dollar for scalping early morning. Keep some runners on. Sorry, Great British Pound US dollar. Yeah, okay. Interesting. What's got you buying the Great British Pound US dollar early morning? How's it working for you? I'm interested, John. I'm interested to know why you've gone short, why you've gone long on the pound US dollar early morning here in the day. You don't really know any other Aussie beers? Some of the most popular ones are like Carlton Dry and Carlton Draft. Great Northerns is a Queenslander beer. I'm Australian, right? So we like beer. We drink beer. That's you don't have to hide that from anyone. I think most people know Australians like beers. So no, there is a fair few, but in terms of what you get like international level, Australians, our culture in Australia is very much, we like to own things. We like to, kind of like America, they got the NFL, and they love the NFL because it's theirs. They built it, it's theirs. We got the AFL. We love Australian rules football because it's ours. We built it. It's our thing. No one else has that. Australians very much like that. We like building our own beers, our own wines from the Barossa Valley. It's like, it's ours. It's a pride, patriotic type thing. I don't know, it's very common, but you read the Chinese are buying up the yen. So far, it's down there. Yeah, look. Ah, we'll touch on that. We'll touch on that shortly. The first thing I wanted to touch on, okay, once John gives me some insight into his position here, because I'm intrigued to know why he's gone long, is, oh, hey up. If we can get down to this like 0.5, guys, I might look to take a quick short. Okay, just letting everyone know early. I know this is a bit quicker, faster pace than what we usually do. We're straight in, but I am looking for opportunities because of yesterday. If we have a look at yesterday, all right, Euro got absolutely stomped. And then later today, around 1 p.m., it's expected around 1 p.m., Japanese yen interest rate is coming out. It's going to be unchanged. Personal opinion is going to be unchanged, okay? So I'm actually looking to short the Japanese yen ahead of that because they're still technically in a recession side of things. They're negative interest rates, which obviously isn't ideal. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And that's why I actually want to go long this morning. Usually with a pair like this, you can catch about 80 pips in the Asian session as a whole. We've already moved about 50 this morning, which makes me a little bit nervous, 56. So we don't have a whole lot of room to get much further. But I am going to keep an eye on it because I have that sense of opportunity. So we will keep an eye on it. Scalps were working great in New York morning and just kept running up, so I kept a 5.05 lot position. $500,000 position, eh? Oh no, you kept 0.5 lots, so 250, okay. Lots of positions as runners, the stops to break even, so let it go. Fair enough, mate. Understandable. We're getting some slow in here. You can kind of see these bottom wicks, right? We might be seeing a turn here, but I want it to get a little bit lower. I at least want to test this 50 EMA. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. It might have just been the opportunity there, but we'll keep an eye on it. Yes. Okay. So Japanese yen interest rates coming out later today. Okay. On Forex Factory, it comes out saying tentative. The monetary policy statement. The interest rate still gets released at 1 p.m. And usually the monetary policy statement comes with that. So it can be a little bit all over the place, but realistically, it's going to be around 1 p.m. for me, which is in what? 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 hours? Something like that? 4 or 5 hours? From now, we're gonna expect to get that. We've had a big week on the fundamentals. Any fundamental traders in here? Anyone like the fundamental trades? If you do, you probably like me because I'm always talking about fundamentals. I love the fundamental bias. Okay, I like to get a fundamental bias. Okay, US, the Fed hiked rates 75 basis points. The CAD Japanese yen looks like even better opportunity. I do agree with you on that. It probably does technically, as you can see here, a bit of a bounce. But I actually want to be buying the euro at the moment. So that's why I've been looking at euro Japanese yen. I want to short the Japanese yen and I want to buy the euro early morning, which is why I'm looking into that. But yes, I agree. I agree with you there, Zach. CAD Japanese yen does look like a very nice opportunity here. I just don't really want to be buying the Canadian dollar at the moment, if I'm totally honest. More of a fundamental precinct view, not really a position I want to be in. No, don't stress. I'll click show. I'm not fussed at all. Don't worry, Matt. We're talking. I'm Australian, right? No. So what are we talking about there? Oh, no fundamental views. Yeah. All right. You're not a fundamental trader. Yeah, well, I am. I like fundamental trading, right? I like to get a bias in all the positions that I take. I like to have an idea on why I want to buy that currency. You know, if you're going to buy a stock, I want to know exactly what that company is doing and how well they're doing it before I buy into it. Same thing with Forex. I want to know what currency I'm buying and why I'm buying that currency prior to having a look at the technicals, okay? Federal funds, they were expected to hike 50 basis points. I don't know where that come from, and I want to do a little value drop with you guys as well right now. Sometimes consensus is so wrong, and it's obvious that the consensus is wrong. Okay, we've been hiking the interest rate for multiple points in time. Okay, inflation's still going up. We hit an all-time 8.6% or something in the US. When a month ago, or a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, I can't remember when it was. Inflation's still going up. They have to be aggressive at this point in time. Yet everyone's consensus was, okay, we're going to do a 50 basis point hike, when they even hinted themselves at doing a 75 basis point hike. And you got to ask yourself, okay, why was the consensus so low for that? And this is a beautiful thing. This is a bit of a value drop. The people that build the consensus, right? They're working for Goldman Sachs. They're up there in all these big investment banks, right? They get all this. They have to build a consensus, and they have a job. It is their job to build a consensus. They want to play it safe, because if they go out there and they be ambitious and they come out saying, oh, we're going to have a 75 basis point hike, and it only gets a 50 basis point hike, it looks bad on them. Even if they truly do think it's a 75 basis point, it looks bad on them. Whereas if they do it the other way around, they come out and go, oh, we're going to have a 25 basis point hike, we are going to hike rates, and then it's a 50 basis point hike, everyone's like, oh, he was right in that they did hike rates, you know, and he kind of gets off the hook. If he's so away from the rest of the consensus, people point at him and go, hang on, why did you get that so wrong? Or why did you get that so right? Why did everyone else get so wrong? So everyone wants to play it safe because they have a reputation to uphold when they're building consensus. So you'll see a lot of the time that these really big firms, their consensus is very boring. And I say boring, I mean, because it's kind of obvious that it's going to be so much more, but they'll say this number because it's a safe bet. It won't ruin their reputation. It won't ruin everyone listening to them, and it won't make them think they have no idea what they're talking about. So they play a safe bet. This right here was a safe bet. I'm just gonna be ambitious and say that. That was a safe bet because I think it was pretty obvious we were going to get a 75 basis point hike. And yet the main consensus went with a 0.5. Why? Because, well, they knew they were going to hike interest rates. They weren't willing to take a punt on how much. They want to do a safe bet. So they're still technically right. Yes, the consensus was right in the direction of, yes, we did hike rates, but they were off the mark by a fair bit. Okay, so I guess there was an element of surprise, which wasn't a surprise to anyone that really had a look into this. The reason I'm talking about this is because it moved the market a fair bit, right? And we're getting levels in the US. We're getting to levels now where if these interest rates keep getting hiked, we're getting to levels where previously it's led to recessions. The only way we've gotten down from these these high interest rates is through a recession. So we're starting to have a look into the US economy. And we've got to start asking, would we rather inflation or would we rather a recession? And it's looking like the Fed is starting to lean towards recession. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on how that's going to affect the currency. Keep an eye on how that's going to affect everyday life if you live in the US. Keep an eye on the decisions that these guys are making. Because you can see we've been hiked quite aggressively. And if you have a look at previously how these hikes happened, it was kind of step by step, yep. Whereas this is getting quite aggressive because inflation's reaching some scary levels. And I think we're going to see this replayed as well in Australia, probably Britain too. Very similar scenarios, okay? If we hike the rates so much, how are they going to come back down? Realistically, probably through a recession route. So keep an eye on that and how that's going to run. We'll have a look at the chart on how the US dollar reacted to this in just a moment. Euro Japanese yen's kind of just sitting around. Didn't quite get as low as I would have liked it to get, which is not giving me overly amount of confidence. We had that WSJ article to tip off the market. In a way, media blackout is not a media blackout. Standard. Yeah, look, interest rates are very predictable. In my opinion and my experience, right? Interest rates are probably one of the most predictable things out there because no one really hides anything. They kind of say, hey, monetary policy says we're going to hike rates 6 times over the next 6 months. And then anyone who gets surprised when the interest rate gets hiked 6 times, the media will always, you know, go out and put a big headline saying, oh my God, the world's ending. But realistically, as traders, like we were told this information, they went and did what they said they were going to do. If anything, we should applaud it. So interest rates decisions are pretty predictable and quite easy to scary to make money on, because if you're wrong in a big way. But usually quite standard. Aussie dollar unemployment rate missed. Their forecast was a lower rate. We actually ended up just sitting here, which actually means we're sat there for a little bit now. We've missed the forecast quite often over recent times, which is interesting to see, because we're still sitting up at 4% or 3.9%. But keep an eye on that. That's going to be interesting to see how because I really want to go long Aussie dollar. Okay, I was looking. I think it was against the New Zealand dollar. I wanted to go long Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. I'm talking long term. I'm talking holding for like the next 2 months. Okay. I do see, as China, I think Shanghai has gone back into lockdown or getting close to going back into lockdown, because we're so involved with China. The lockdowns and the COVID stuff that they're going through does affect Aussie dollar value. A lot of people are turning away from the Aussie dollar because, well, we do so much trade deals with China. Which I think Australia is trying to kind of break open a little bit, bring manufacturing back into Australia. But yeah, we'll see how well that goes. Early morning today, Aussie dollar's moving well. We don't have really any news today, which is going to be interesting. It's just it's the Japanese yen moving here, and the reason the Japanese yen's moving it here is because everyone's shorting the absolute donkeys out of it, because they're expecting the interest rate to still be bad news for the Japanese yen. And if you have a look at how the Japanese yen has moved recently, you'd think to yourself, surely it can't go much further. This is a daily chart here. You'd think to yourself, surely we can't keep moving on this rate. You know what I mean? We've moved almost 20% in value since February, 18.58%. Over the past couple weeks, it shot up 8.2%. This is movements you see in the stock market. We're trading currencies here. We're usually trading pennies. We're getting 10% moves, 20% moves. Most people are sitting there going, nah, enough's enough. It's overbought or oversold. Surely it can't go much further. I think it can go a little bit further. I think it can. I had to go back over my notes. The one thing that caught my eye for the long Great British Pound US dollar is the present weekly candle. If it holds, it may be a strong bullish signal. Oh, okay. That's an interesting decision. You've gone into a trade in anticipation that it's going to be a good signal. Interesting, because while you may be right, the weekly candle close, it could be a great opportunity to go long, depending on how you trade. You're looking at that lovely long wick, I'm assuming. It's a very, very long wick, isn't it? But it hasn't closed yet. Now, we don't really have much data expected, but the market's always unexpectable. So we might see a bit of movement today. Unlikely. It probably will sit around here. But to be honest, even when we get these long wicks, if today closes up, right? If that's a terrible arrow. If today closes, this week closes, well, yeah, today closes up like here, I don't love the setup. Now, if it closes right here, I like it. But if we close up here, I don't love the setup. But I guess if you're scalping anyway, if it closes up there, you would have made a bit of profit. The only thing is, if it comes back down and closes here, then it's just it's another candle situation. But interesting. Yep, you're a trader. I respect your analysis, and I hope it works out. It's not giving me anything. I'm really not liking it. I wanted, excuse me, I wanted to go long. Sorry if I have a bit of a scratchy throat or the odd sniffle. I am still recovering from COVID-19, so it might take a little bit for my voice to come back. Excuse me. Have a look, AJ. What do you want me to have a look at? AG? What exactly do you want me to have a look at? That lower wick is impressive. I agree. John. It is. It's not closed yet. However, you're risk-free. That's right. You are risk-free, and you're holding on. Okay. Just keep your analysis uptight. Where's your realistic money target? Keep an eye on that, because your original analysis is kind of depleted now, right? Like the trade's played out, which is why you're risk-free. Like everything's kind of worked. I'm assuming worked the way you wanted it. You've taken some positions off, and now you're just kind of just letting it run because it's in your favor. Still try and have an exit plan. Otherwise, you're never really going to exit where you're really happy with. You know what I mean? So keep an eye on that. Euro, Japanese yen still not doing much for me. So let's have a look at old, beautiful. What do I think? Hey, what do you mean, AG? You've baffled me. You said have a look, and then what do you think? What do I think about what? Steve, may I ask, did you get the vaccine before catching COVID? I did. I am vaccinated. First dose, second dose. Haven't done any boosters, and I got COVID. To be fair, it did hit me pretty hard, COVID. I was bedridden for a few days, and I still get it. Random points where I can't breathe is quite a horrible feeling, I must say. There'll be points where you actually have to think about breathing, and you have to open up your chest and breathe. And I'm a fit guy. I'm healthy. I eat well. I exercise. Still gets me. There's random points where I'm just really struggling to breathe here, which is not nice. Not nice at all. This was fun. Who got caught in this yesterday? Oh, what do I think of the CAD Japanese yen bot? Sorry, AJ. AG. Apologies. Let's have a quick look into it. As I said, it looked like a nice technical setup, but I don't have if you're breaking up above here. The thing is, how much does CAD Japanese yen usually move? 70 pips, 60 pips, 70 pips, there we go, okay. And then a slow day sitting around 50 pips. Is today going to be a slow day? Probably not, because we have the Japanese yen Bank of Interest. It's already moved 47 pips, so you're looking for what realistically a safe bet, an extra 10 to 20 pips from here. So if you can get up above this 102.4 level, sure, you can probably look to try and break the all-time high of the day. We may see a bit of rejection when you get above that, and then a push back down. But realistically, I wouldn't set your target any higher than 102.6. Up here would be probably the highest I'd look to set a target, but definitely an opportunity there. I just don't really want to buy the Canadian dollar right now. Just personal opinion. Not looking forward to buying into that CAD. You must have caught the Delta and not the Omicron. I think so. I got no idea. Don't stress about deleting the message, okay? We're all open book here. We can chat about anything you want to chat about. Euro US dollar on his way back down. What's your analysis? What's your gut telling you, Paul? What's your gut telling you? What do you want to do? Are you feeling like you want to short it just because we've had a big move? Or are you feeling like you want to short it because there's real push behind you that people are buying the US dollar and shorting the euro? You're looking for 230 pip with US dollar CAD dropping soon. Why are people shorting the US dollar that heavily? Why is everyone shorting the US dollar 230 pips and buying the Canadian dollar over the US dollar, AG? Where's the value in that? I'm not yelling at you. I'm just sparking conversation, okay? Just getting you talking about it. Right, what I'm going to do, because we got distracted. Who got caught in the Euro Swiss franc? or the Swiss franc dropped yesterday, right? The Swiss franc had a absolute screamer of a day. Have a look at that. Everyone was worried and complaining about the higher leverage that set. Oh, really? Japan said they're not raising the rates? Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. And the rates are currently negative in Japan. Then like negative 0.1 or something. So I think everyone will be shorting the Japanese yen because it means they're not making any progress. Yeah, Swiss franc. The higher leverage on the Swiss franc kind of played out today. 180 pip drop in about 5 minutes. Now, I did see some people complaining about slippage and part of the market's part of trading. Have a look at that. That is absolutely phenomenal. Why did it happen? Well, it's the first time that they've changed their interest rates since like 2015. Was there a market overreaction? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I definitely think it was a shock. I'm not sure if I'd say it was an overreaction. I think the move was going to happen, whether it happened in 5 minutes, whether it happened over 4 hours. I think the move was going to happen. I'm not sure I'd call it an overreaction. I definitely think it's a shock. It's a shock to the market. And as you can see, we're kind of flatlined now. It's kind of like the market saying, okay, that happened. Let's all take 5. What just happened? Why did it happen? Where should we really be priced into the market? And I think they're going to find that once they sit around here for a little bit, that they will actually turn and head back lower once more. My opinion. Might not happen today. It might take a full week of just kind of sitting around this area before we start to move to the bottom side. But I do think more people are going to be buying into the Swiss franc in the coming weeks. Personal opinion, I will be looking to buy Swiss francs at some point in the coming week. But I don't like going against the US dollar right now. You can see the Swiss franc announcement come out, and compared to the euro, that move still happened. So we had that original move on US dollar Swiss franc, right? Still another 180 pips. It's sat. People had to think about it. Okay, what just happened? Why did that happen? What do we really think about it? And then bang, it went and did another 140 pips on top of that. Okay, so people definitely want to be buying into the Swiss franc right now, which is interesting because it's usually a safe haven asset. And it's getting a little bit more volatile. So keep an eye on that. That's going to be fun to see how that unfolds. Yeah, you want to short it, Paul. You want to short Euro US dollar because it went up so much. I won't lie. I don't love that reason. I want to short because it moved a lot. While sometimes it definitely can work, it just doesn't do enough for me in convincing that that's going to be a good trade. Each trade, in my opinion, needs a deeper amount of analysis unless you're trading like the 1 minute time frame and you're in the trade for about 10 minutes. Well, I want some kind of deeper meaning. I want you to believe that this is the trade of the year. It's going to be trade of the year. It's going to move, X amount of pips, and it's going to make you an absolute fortune. And the reason is because of this. And if you went to an investor and you said you want to short this asset right now because it moved up, there's a good chance everyone's going to turn around and go, "Who's this guy? Yeah, get him out of here." So it might work, and statistically, I think it will. For a lot of people, statistically, that has worked in trading, and they trade like statistical traders, or pure technical, and then having that edge, which does work for most traders. That's how most traders trade. It's just personally, I'd like to see some kind of emphasis behind why I want to short the euro into the US dollar. Why do we want to buy the US dollar right now? You know what I mean? That's just kind of, I guess I like that clarity in mind. Okay. If it pops up again, I'll read it through. Awesome, Steve. Top class, mate. Appreciate it. Ewan, you're looking At the euro US dollar as well, if you can get below 1054, might be able to push for 105, but we might have room to run to 1064 for now. But I'm looking for a sell opportunity eventually. Once again, why do you want to short the euro? I know there's a war going on in the euro, right? The US dollar's doing its thing. How much confidence is going to keep flooding into the US dollar? That's a question you want to ask yourself. They had a 75 basis point hike, and the chart didn't really display that, did it? It's just kind of sitting here, and then it's gone the other way. It's gone the way of shorting the US dollar after an aggressive hike. Are people now starting to go, shit, they're in trouble, there is a recession coming, I don't want to be in the US dollar? Maybe. What do I know? No, you're buying CAD Japanese yen, but I'm using US dollar CAD as confluence as that is dropping too. Expecting a strong US dollar Japanese yen rise today for 230 pips. So you get large targets for a one-day trade. Well, even if the ECB is closing the rate gap, and there's still a large rate differential expected by the end of the year. Exactly, yeah, there is. Yeah, I just think, like, if you have a look at it, if you have a look at all world economies right now, all the majors, okay, so we've got the Aussie dollar, Swiss franc, US dollar, Japanese yen, Canadian dollar, New Zealand dollar, I said Japanese yen, am I missing one? Great British pound, okay? And you line them all up, and someone's given you $2 million, and they said over the next month, you have to invest this in one position in Forex, okay? Which economy are you putting that $2 million in? Ask yourself that question. Which economy right now in this world do you want to put $2 million in? Shoot me some answers. Have a think about that. It's a big question. It's a big question, and it's a question not a lot of people ask, okay? Why? Where? When? And it's not talking technicals, not talking because, you know, the RSI is overbought or the moving averages are pointing up. I don't care. I'm talking purely off knowledge on the economy. Gold and silver, Elvis, good answer. You spun it on me, right? So we're not really talking about, we're not really having a discussion there about economies, but you are technically shorting the US dollar by doing that. Hedging against the US dollar, essentially. So you've gone gold and silver. You think that all the economies are going to do absolute nothing. I was going to say something that I shouldn't say there. You think the economies aren't going to do anything, and you need to hedge with commodities and metals. So that gives you an incentive as to where your head's at and what your feel for the market is right now. Is you've got no confidence. Eon, you honestly don't know. You don't know, and that's okay. You don't have to know. But that's the thing. We trade this market, and so many of us trade this market, yet we have no idea on the bias that we actually want to take. Yeah? So many people will be like, yeah, we'll trade this, and they'll be profitable. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not profitable, but they also won't have a long-term bias on which economy they think is going to run the best, or they think will run the best. And that's interesting. Two of you there, John and AJ, have said, AG, I keep saying AG, have gone the US dollar. John, you've gone long US dollar due to the rate hikes. Rate hikes work out great for the economy early on. Okay? I think once the rate hikes start getting a little bit further and further, the idea of a recession gets higher and higher, and the idea of the economy going into a recession, it's less advertising to buy that currency. So the more that this US dollar rate hikes come in, I do think you're going to start seeing less and less confidence in people buying the US dollar. More and more people like Elvis going to gold, going to silver, going to copper, bronze, sugar, commodities, right? They're all flooding out that way. Hi, Casey. How How you going? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. Jeeves Stobbs says the Swiss. Their inflation is really not a problem for them yet, and their rates are still negative. Lots of room for them to move. Thinking outside the box. I like it. I like it. Not a problem for them yet. Yet. Big one. Big one. But I like where your head's at. I like what you're thinking. Elon says, I guess right now it's more of a case for what will... Sorry, I've just absolutely butchered that. I guess right now it's more of a case... What? No, I didn't butcher it. Okay. What will feel the least? But I'm trying to be very agile right now while I'm looking for selling opportunities in Euro US dollar. I'm still willing to buy if needed. Yeah, but you're a technical trader. That's what I'm hearing, okay? You're a technical trader, which most people in this stream right now are. I'm a technical trader, right? I just, I want to say over the past year, I've really preferred to have a fundamental backing prior to having that technical trade. And that's just because I can go in with more confidence, I can go in with more clarity, and a better understanding of the overall market on which ways realistically, instead of going onto a chart and then going on the daily chart and looking at the moving averages to find out which way it's going, I can look at the fundamentals and go, okay, we've got an economy that's struggling, we've got an economy that's really performing, let's put them together, let's buy that, let's short that, and then I'll dive onto that chart and go, okay, let's look at the technical analysis to find those opportunities. A lot of people don't do that. They just go straight into looking at technicals, which is fine. If it works for them, it works for them. And that's the beauty of working in a firm like this. Everyone has their own strategies, their own performance techniques, and they all make their own money their own way, right? But yeah, I guess that's what I'm just trying to spark today in conversation, in your thought process. Let's just think a little deeper. Let's think a little bit bigger. Let's have a run through. Where do we think this is going to go and why? If you had $2 million to put in any economy right world other than gold and silver, it's not an economy, where are you putting it? And you see how we had such a mixed reaction. We had some people saying, honestly, no idea. Awesome. Good job for putting your hand up and saying no idea. Good to see. All right, we have some other people going long US dollar because of this. You'd invest in the US dollar because of this. Previously, it's done really well, blah, 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 maybe. We've had an outside of the box thinker go with the Swiss, going with the safe haven. So usually during these uncertain times, most people would go Japanese yen, but that thing has just been getting stumped. And as it's usually like a safe haven asset, geez, that's a lot of money just been wiped off the table through the Japanese yen. Casey's asking for Great British Pound US dollar 125.8. Great British Pound US dollar to 125.8. Okay. Okay, Casey. Run me through it. What are you thinking? Share your trade idea with the group. You want to bring it up there. Back to the top of that range. Look, I don't hate the idea of shorting the US dollar right now. I'm not gonna lie. Buying into the pound. What are we looking at next week? We've got CPI for the pound. That's pretty much it. Okay. Okay. I don't hate it, but I want a bit more information from you. I want a bit more. Sell me the idea. Sell me the idea. What are you thinking? If I had to say Canadian dollar, but it's not really been performing. They all have the things in the world it needs right now. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, see, it's an interesting. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Everyone who's been involved in this conversation is sitting there, and maybe your head's exploding a little bit, or you're a little bit confused. There's no wrong answer, and it is frustrating that there's never a wrong answer, right? But there's not. There is not a wrong answer. this market is going to go where this market wants to go. And if I could sit here and tell you exactly what the answer was going to be, I'd be milking it for millions day in, day out, right? I'm not doing that, okay? And neither are you. You couldn't tell me exactly how it's going to go because you'd be doing the same. So there's no wrong answer. This is all opinion based and it's all analytical and it's all, okay, what do we really think? What do we feel? And that's why I'm starting this conversation. So we can actually have a talk. What do you think? What do you feel? Where is it going to go? That's what we're asking. Great British Pound entry at 2408. All right, so you're looking for a break over the high. I'll get to you in a moment, Laxi. With a stop loss of 0.12. A price target of 258 with the 2-to-1 ratio. Why is your price target there? Like, I understand you said it, right? You're looking for a break above this high after quite a large move already, got to be said. You're looking for a break above, essentially, with your stop loss down here and your target up here, okay? Something along the lines of that. Which I understand, but why? Why are you looking at that? Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. What do you want from CAD Japanese yen? 103476. Is it coming back to retest that low? That's what you're asking. Maybe. Bounce personally as a 618 if only Fibo traders. Maybe. Maybe. Could be on. How did our Euro Japanese yen little idea play out? We didn't get the entry point I wanted. Let's see. Yeah, see, and I'm kind of glad I didn't get in. Yes, we would have made profits. Okay, we were looking. Well, I wanted to get in down here, but even if we'd settled and got in around here, we wouldn't be making profit. But look how like slow it is. I want to move like this. I want conviction. I want buying power. I want it to move. That is not buying power. That is weak. That is very weak, and it's going to be shorted now. That is good. I did not want to be involved in that. Steve. Another Steve. Third impulse wave. Normally be weaker. Where are you talking? I can't remember what you're talking about there, Steve. I'm not going to lie. But, hang on. Yeah. I'm confusing myself at this point. That was my trade opportunity. That was the trade I wanted to take, and it's not really done. I'm still probably gonna look to try and buy into the Euro Japanese yen at some point today. If we can get this low, obviously my target's gonna be a little bit lower now. If we can get around here, maybe around here later in the day, then I'm gonna look to take this higher because I want to short the Japanese yen ahead of their interest rate. But according to Steve Sokol, might not be coming out today, but we'll keep an eye on it. Also, thank you very much for asking that $2 million scenario, Jordan. Gave me a lot to think about. No worries at all. It's a good little exercise. It's a good little exercise to have a think, and then sometimes it makes you realize how little you know about the market you're trading. And it can be confronting, and a lot of people don't like being told that. But realistically, it can. If I come in and be like, hey, look, I want to invest this over the next month, where am I doing it? And you can't give an answer on just general bias in the market you're trading. How well do you understand the market you're trading? And that's what I like to think. I like to have an answer. Keep in mind, right now, I do not have an answer either. I don't. I always like to try and get one. I don't. I'm looking. I said earlier on, I do want to buy into the Aussie dollar. I think it's undervalued. Excuse me. I think it's undervalued. I would like to get into the Aussie dollar at some point. With China coming out of lockdown, with everything that's going on, I think it's gonna hold quite well and move back up towards the upside. So I guess that's my answer. My answer is the Aussie dollar. But pairing it against which economy is the all-time big question. Where's weakest, where's strongest, where's weakest? Put them together. Guess what? We've got a forex pair that we can trade in the direction we want to do. Good day, Steve. Good day. You're talking about Great British Pound, US dollar. Yeah, the third. So you're calling this the third wave? So it's kind of like a what? Where are you reading it? Are you reading it like 1, 2, like that, or are you reading it like that? Oops. Like I could definitely see this playing out. Okay, who was asking about this? Casey. I could definitely see this playing out. I just want some reasoning. I want some emphasis behind why you believe this trade is such a good idea. I guess that's what I'm after. Nothing more, nothing less. And in asking that, it's making you think about it, making you think, okay, why am I looking to buy into the pound? What's the pound doing for me over the next, this will probably take 2 or 3 days on average. I'm looking probably, I don't think we're going to get a move like that today. There's no reason to get a move like that today, but I'd expect this to go over like 2 or 3 days. And the thing is, it's the weekend at the end of today, so then you got to hold this position over the weekend. If we even get to the point where we can break higher today, realistically, we might just like kind of fizzle around and close around here, or push down and pull back, or push up and a pull down. And then this might be a move for Monday into Tuesday, but we'll see. We'll see what the market wants to deliver for you. All right. That's pretty much everything I wanted to talk. We talked about the 180 drop on Euro Swiss franc very marginally, just about why it happened and how it happened. We spoke about the Fed rate hike. Are we now starting to look at recession, over inflation? Is that the reason the market's reaction has been mixed given these rate hikes? Is that going to be a real possibility? We spoke about consensus, as sometimes people are just trying to save their job in building that consensus, so keep that in mind. Don't ever just trade based off of consensus. It's not the smartest idea. And sometimes you can actually catch the consensus off guard. Like it can be quite obvious that that's not going to happen the way they anticipate it. And then we had a look. We were looking for a trade opportunity earlier this morning to try and get in Euro Japanese yen, but it just didn't deliver, which is actually quite a good thing that it didn't deliver, because it looks like the way it played out wasn't too hot. Does anyone have any questions they would like to ask? Let's do a quick Q&A for the next 5 minutes. Any question at all, trading related, not trading related, I don't mind. Send them in right now. Let's dive through them. Let's have a chat. Okay, now's your time. Now is your chance. Let's talk about it. As I finish my coffee. Anything at all. I know there's a little bit of delay between when I'm talking and when you guys see it, and then how you can react and chat as well. So I'll give you a little minute. Anything at all, fire away. If not, I'll let you go about your days. How do you deal with staying out of the market? Okay. Good question. Good question. How do you deal with staying out of the market. So how do you stay out of the market when maybe you want to be in a trade but there's not an opportunity? It's one I haven't battled in a little while. So it's an interesting one because I don't feel the need to be risk on. That was something I think everyone feels as they develop as a trader, because it's fun. It's fun to be in the market. It's fun to trade, especially at first, and it's fun to see your profit and loss change and to work on this greater, bigger career that you're aspiring to have. And I guess you got to be grounded. You got to stick out. If there's no opportunity, you got to not trade. Okay, and that's very easy to say compared to actually implementing. And I guess it's all down to what you really want to get out of trading. You got to ask yourself: are you here to have fun and it's a bit of entertainment, or are you here to develop positive returns and make money? If you're here to develop positive returns and make money, you should only be trading opportunities when opportunities arise. One thing you can do is maybe have a separate account, a smaller money account to do your little, I'm bored, I want to have a play, kind of like a sports betting account. But then you're just going to teach yourself the wrong habits. So I guess at the end of the day, you just need to write down how you're feeling prior to going in a trade. Why are you going to trade that? Why are you looking for an opportunity right now? How do you feel? Do you feel like you're forcing it? Do you feel like it's there? How do you feel about it? And I guess that's how you figure out whether you're trading because of boredom, or whether you're trading because there's a real opportunity in the market. It's all down to emotion, trading plans. If you're part of a 5%ers trading plan, every day before the market, go in, write down how you're feeling. Are you here because you're bored and you want to make some money, or are you here because you see an opportunity and you want to trade it? That would be my advice. Sorry, it's been a little while since I battled that, and I guess that's the first time I've reflected that it has been a little while since I battled that. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. It's kind of one you just get over. You lose that I really want to be in the market, I really want to trade aspect over time, because you learn that it just hurts you in the long run. Do you use a lot of indicators? No, not at all. Very, very rarely use indicators. The indicators you can see I have here are 50 moving average, EMA. That changes all the time depending on what I'm trading and why I'm trading it. And then sessions. I've just got it marked out where the Asian session is. That's pretty much the indicators I use. Occasionally, as Steve asked there, Fibonacci, yeah. I wouldn't base my whole analysis off of the Fibonacci tool, but I do use it sometimes just to get a bit of an idea. You can use Fibonacci without using Fibonacci. I mean, you can see how great of a pullback something was. Oh, bless me. You can see how big of a pullback something was prior to, pulling out the tool and being like, yeah, it went to here or it went to there. Most people can see a 50% pullback. Most people can see a 68% pullback or whatever it is. But yeah, I guess I use it every now and then. Wouldn't base analysis purely off of Fibonacci though. I just use it to help get an entry point or some reference in the price action. Don't stress, Steve. I've got nothing to hide. Anyone can ask anything here. Very open book, and I've been that way since the very start. I've got nothing to hide. I've got nothing to lie about or to try and make you perceive. I'm as real as they come, and you ask a question, I'll give you an answer. That's the reality of it. That's what I pride myself on. There's no point being someone, trying to be someone else or having a different persona. You are who you are. Own it and respect it. Okay. Is that everyone's questions? Last chance. Last chance. Any more questions from anyone at all? If not, I'm going to let you go about your day. I'm going to let you trade, and I'm going to let you have your weekends. Okay? That was an attempt at humor. I apologize, Steve. I apologize. Sometimes it's hard to get. I don't know you, and I can only see the words you type out, sometimes it's hard to read that. I apologize for misreading that. Volumes, efficiency. Don't use volumes in Forex because it's pretty useless. Volumes is like tick volume. What's the point in using volumes in Forex if you can't get it? Most people trading Forex are trading CFDs, which means they're you know, it's not even being printed onto the market when they do make a trade. So yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by efficiency, but in terms of volumes like that. Paul, no worries. John, no worries. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure. As always, you guys know who you see me every week. Take the weekend off, get away from the charts, go spend some time with your friends, with your family, go get in the sun, get some vitamin D, you know, get away from the charts. They can be annoying, they can cloud your head, get away, go have a good time. Come back Sunday night or Monday morning, ready, switched on, and smash out the, yeah, you can use the volume in the futures market. Yep, yes you can. But when you're trading CFD charts, do not recommend using volume. What would your approach to trading crypto be? I don't trade crypto, unfortunately, Impactor. I don't like crypto and I don't trade it. So I can't really help you there, I'm afraid. Thank you for the stream. I'm trying to develop fundamentals. Have a look into it, Malu. It is good fun. I do like looking at the fundamentals and getting that $2 million question. Always have that $2 million question. If someone gives you $2 million, tells you to invest it in an economy, which one are you choosing? It's a great question. All right, guys, enjoy your week. Enjoy your weekend. I wish you all the best success over the next week. And hopefully I will see you next week. All right, enjoy, guys. I'll catch you later.